the designer here has put some detailed notes around this developing plan. It's a concept plan. I'd point out firstly that I'm in layout space, and even though this is quite a large block of text, individual elements here, that's just a single text entity, as is the line underneath, a single text entity. That can be a little bit tricky to manage. Let's remove all of these, and there are 6 lines of text, and I'll erase them, and I've set up an MTEXT or multi-line text entity, and I can move it now into position. Any editing that you want to do with an M-line text is done the same as a single line text, but you can put carriage returns. We can say gardens and hit enter and take that out and OK it, and that will move up. We've popped an additional line in there. So it's not necessary to do that. That confuses the issue, but I wanted to illustrate that you can get control over things within this MTEXT box. But it's a lot better if you, let's unselect all, it's a lot better if you want to change things, just pick the text. There's all sorts of opportunities for you. The character height here could easily be changed to say 3.5. I'm not at all sure of the size that the intention here, so let's go to Layout Manager. So this particular layout one is intended to be on an A1 sheet, so it's correct the way it was. You really would want your text fairly large, and you remember the text height was 5 previously, and that fits with the Australian drafting standard, which says on A1 sheets you can certainly go to 5mm, but 3.5mm is allowed. But I digress. So what I'm suggesting is it's easier to move things around and edit and play around when you're using an MTEXT entity. Just make it narrower and things change, and then move down, and there we are. We could move our compost bay up there, and then just change the line that links to compost bay. But that reminds me of another issue. If we want to label a zone like this, which the label says perimeter veggie bed with trellis for climbers and so on, so it's a detailed note about what's to happen in that area. And if I click on it, what I've done, rather than just do as we said earlier on the compost bay, which was just a single line of text and a line, here I've put text in using a leader. And the advantage of this is a leader line can just be moved around. So the text with a leader is linked to the entity called leader. So again, you've got control over things, just as we could control height, line spacing and whatever. We can do the same sort of thing here. Control line space. You might want to reduce that to say 0.75, and you've got a much tighter line. So you can play around, I think, with different ways of putting blocks of text into a design. My preference is to put text into model space, text such as this, rather than layout space, for the simple reason that if I happen to inadvertently move things around in model space, I'm going to lose that link. But that's just a personal preference. This works perfectly well and does have the added advantage that you know the height that you're going to get when you print. So I hope that helps just a little where you have a need to place large chunks of text into your design.